Hello and welcome to another episode of the Never a Straight Answer podcast, the podcast that aims to cover a wide range of topics from conspiracy theories to popular culture and news. I'm your host Gaz, and joining me in the studio, it said he once was told to stand at the end of the line, but he replied there was somebody already there. He's my co-host, Mr. Taylor.
Yeah, and it was you. And everybody else.
And everyone else, yeah. You just get at the back of the line, Taylor. You don't have to worry. There's someone else in your place. Well, thank you, and welcome to the show.
Yeah, welcome.
Thank you for joining us for another spellbinding edition of the Never a Straight Answer podcast. So whether you're a new listener or a repeat offender,
keep repeating,
then welcome along. It's always a pleasure to have you here.
Never a chore.
It's never a chore, is it?
No.
Yeah. Do you know what I like most about getting together to record the podcast?
What?
Absolutely nothing. I'm joking. I love it all. I love it all. I love the listeners. I love the topics. I love your company, Taylor.
Why? Thank you. You're not too bad yourself.
On this week's episode, we're talking the vroom vroom Nazca lines, not to be mistaken with NASCAR.
Yeah. No crashes tonight.
We're going to turn left.
Yeah.
Well, the Nazca lines are a group of geoglyphs made when the soil in the Nazca Desert in southern Peru was a bit messed with.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Swiss writer Erich Von Daniken was fascinated with the Nazca lines and was also a strong believer in UFOs and extraterrestrial visitors.
Yeah,
Von Daniken writes quite a lot about his beliefs in, such archaeological and architectural sort of marvels, such as the Nazca lines, but also
Egypt, Greece,
pyramids, Stonehenge, Easter Island. He's kind of
shows the history from the background,
but he's known for his kind of trying to connect these sort of historical artifacts with extraterrestrials.
Asking the questions and trying to get the truth and of the answer.
Well, we'll be looking into it and seeing if we can find the answers, because the truth is out there. A bit later on in the show.
Yeah.
Not very later on in the show. It's coming up.
Not
that's coming up shortly. Plus this
short.
week's random news events and also whatever else we'd like to talk about.
Yeah,
it's too
and
much.
we will.
It's like, you know, when I was reading this thing before about like good podcasting etiquette and like, you know, what you're supposed to do in like, you know, your
P's and Q's.
All your P's and Q's and doing all your bump about your show and it said make sure to include as much detail as about your topics and things you talk about in your show as possible. And I thought, oh my god, do you know what, if I did that I'd spend all day writing. I can't be bothered. It's just like you get the main title and that's it. But to be honest, we talk about a hell of a lot of stuff.
We do. And not only that, if everyone uses the same lines, then what's going to be the difference between any podcast? You don't get that variety or the actual, you know, the personality.
Well, speaking of lines, we're doing lines today. Not literally. We're doing Nazca lines.
Yes, we are.
But doesn't mean you'll get on with it.
That's the only stone we're getting.
I mean, the Nazca lines, you know, Von Daniken, he felt like it was kind of a method of communicating with extraterrestrials.
Bit like crop circles.
Is that then communicating back? Yeah.
Well,
maybe.
It could be.
Well, if you had, you know, what means and method would you use to communicate with extraterrestrials?
Pigeons.
Phone home or, you know, get in touch, get them to pick you up?
To be honest, it would have to be sound first.
Boo, boo,
yeah. And we've got like SETI set up for that kind of stuff. And
for a settee? For them to come chill on?
Yeah. And
like a nice recliner and a lazy boy?
Well, there are a set of like mini satellites where...
Oh, SETI. Right, I thought you meant settee.
Oh, no. Nice and comfy though.
Nice and comfortable. Right, anyway.
And we've got other ones out there that are looking out there with just sound along. And we've learnt a lot through sound along.
Yeah, looking for blips and blops and little anomalies in space.
I got to admit, last night, this morning, when I got in from work, I was like, I want to watch something. You never guess what I watched.
Oh, go on.
The Arrival.
What was that?
Have you ever seen it?
I have a while ago.
Charlie Sheen.
I was going to say it's got Charlie Sheen in it.
Yeah, where he's working at a planetarium and he's like using a satellite and he finds a signal. Then he tries and goes to NASA and goes, I've got evidence. Oh, it's only 42 seconds, but hey, analyse it. All right. Oh, by the way, you're sacked. And then he wants to find out an answer, basically. So he ends up going to Mexico and finding aliens.
I do remember this. Yeah, I do remember this.
But do you know there's number 2 as well?
Yeah.
Didn't realise there was number 2.
That's because it was probably a straight to VHS.
Yeah, the visuals and like the background, it was like green screen.
Oh, I love how like 90s movies especially the green screen technology, they were like really excited about it.
Yeah.
And wanted to use it at every opportunity, but it wasn't there
like
yet.
They do now with digital.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. But I mean, it wasn't 100% there yet, and it doesn't hold up. I think the worst one I remember seeing. In like a big blockbuster movie was Independence Day.
Yeah,
right? And it's one bit of CGI or green screen that they use, which is fucking horrendous. And it's when the tunnel blows up, and
that's exactly the thing I was thinking.
The dog jumps through the fire, right? And it's so bad. And the other one
was terrible.
The other one from the early 90s was GoldenEye.
Oh,
was it GoldenEye where he's parachuting? No, I think it was another. It was a Pierce Brosnan and James Bond, but he jumps out of the plane and he's parachuting.
On
skiing.
water.
On water. And he's
on,
sort of CGI'd into the fucking, but there's no movement or anything like that.
No,
it's just so
big
bad.
ice cubes that you had to try and get out of the way.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what I forgot how we even got onto that, because you were saying about the CGI and that Signs, wasn't you?
Yeah. Well, I was watching the film last night because we was talking about signals best way. What do you reckon would be the best way of communication?
Communication to try
just land on the lawn. That's what we want. We want them to just land on the lawn and go, "Hello, we're your neighbours."
Well, I mean, it's funny, isn't it? Because like you were saying about crop circles, and maybe that would be them. Because it is trying to communicate with us.
It's a possible method.
The glyphs in Nazca are so vast that they can be seen some from really high up.
Yeah.
So, I was thinking, if you were lost on a desert island or something, you'd kind of put a big help out of rocks or something that was SOS.
Or the communication one is a triangle of fire.
Oh, is
that
it?
is the international
anything that was going to get
one,
you seen, really, isn't it? So I don't know. Maybe I think a combination of lights, flashing lights, but in a big enough pattern that would be able to be seen from space. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to help us do that, we can crack on.
Yeah.
We'll get a load of Christmas
Great
lights.
Wall of China. Put it across there.
Oh, do you know? Has anyone ever thought of stringing up Christmas lights on the Great Wall of China?
I think they have. I think they've. I don't think they've actually done it though.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, they might have.
I've got something I wanted to talk to you about this this week.
Okay.
Facebook, what's going on? Right, Facebook. I don't use it as much, but I use it for a few groups, right? Yeah, and especially for pushing out the podcast and kind of publicising it to people. Yeah. There's a few groups that go on, but there's a few fan groups that you kind of like because you like a movie or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And one of the ones I'm on is like the Ghostbusters. Yeah.
Yeah.
Ghostbusters. Fan site, they post loads of great Ghostbusters memes and stuff like that, right? So the other day, I'm not sure most people have probably seen this because it went quite viral, but there was a picture of the Pope wearing a puffer jacket.
Oh yeah,
yeah, he's wearing a big white puffer jacket. Now that is actually AI.
Yes, I believe
that image is AI, right? Yeah, and you could probably put the Pope in a variety of gangster coats or whatever. Yeah, but he looked like he was about to drop a rap album, right?
Yeah.
So, looking at the photo, I was like, oh my God, he looks like the State Puft Marshmallow Man. And then I went, well, a bit of wordplay, State Pope Marshmallow Man, right?
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
So, knowing that, I'm in this Ghostbusters meme, group, I decide, fuck it, I'm going to post this picture of the Pope, Pope Master General. Yeah. Poping it up in his pimp jacket, right? And I put the quote, "Oh, damn it, Ray, what did you do? It's the State Pope Marshmallow Man," right? And it's in the Ghostbusters group, right? It references the Ghostbusters film. In a Ghostbusters group.
It does.
Yeah. It references the bad guy, the State Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah.
And a photo of the Pope dressed like the State Puft Marshmallow Man.
Yeah.
And Facebook flagged me and said that this photo was out of context. Yeah, and I was like, no, it's in perfect context. Thank you very much, Facebook.
They're talking about it.
It's the AI. It
Are you saying you're the start of it? You saying you're the one who set it out?
No, they just struck me and said that, like, you know, it was out of context and it could give people the wrong impression seeing this image. And
a lot of things could do that.
Well, yeah, exactly. But what people were laughing at it, going, "Have Facebook flagged your joke for being out of context?" And I was like, "Yeah, but it's totally in context, considering everybody else gets it."
Yeah.
But the Facebook algorithm doesn't get it, therefore it's illegal. Yeah, right. And then this is the problem. Yeah, so Facebook actually sent me a survey.
I thought you got a lawsuit
to fill in,
asking
about whether their guidelines were a bit too harsh.
Fucking wow,
and I
mate.
said too right they are, and it even goes as far as saying, "How did you feel? Was you upset by our decision to strike your post?"
You should have
said. I said I was fucking mortified.
I've got to go see the doctor next week.
So yeah, thanks Facebook. I just thought the irony of it being out of context when it was in actual more than context. It was in perfect context. Anyway, has anyone else had like a post struck on Facebook for no reason and thought, "Whoa, wait a minute"?
Yeah,
that's a bit out of.
Well, do you think they're the fucking law? No,
the Facebook police.
I thought we were supposed to have freedom.
Remember Tom on MySpace?
Yeah.
Oh, bring Tom back.
Yeah.
We like Tom.
We do.
No, this is Zuckerbergin.
No, he's a knob.
Well, going into this week's show, just before we go into this week's show, we have an advert.
We do.
Or a product placement, if you like.
Something we would like you to see
something
free.
Something that I think you'd like. And considering if you listen to this show, this might interest you. Because this week's episode is vaguely sponsored by Audible. Well, do you like flying saucers and stuff like that? Well, you can get loads of audiobooks from Erich Von Daniken.
Yes, yeah.
Available on Audible. Mate, he has got a selection. You've got the Eye of the Sphinx. Yeah. You've got History is Wrong.
Make you think.
By Erich Von Daniken.
Yeah.
Gods Were Astronauts.
Yeah.
The Return of the Gods. Arrival of the Gods. The Gods Never Left Us.
Nope.
Signs from Gods, and a number of others. Odyssey of the Gods, Chariot of the Gods.
Anything with gods.
He just loves the gods.
He likes the gods, yeah.
They're all available on Audible, and we're going to give you a free trial, 30-day free trial, where you can test out Audible.
Oh, we nice.
It's lovely, that, isn't it? Your trial gets you one free book. It doesn't necessarily have to be Erich Von Daniken, but you can keep the book forever and ever. You have the ability to choose from the world's largest selection of audiobooks, including bestsellers, new releases, sci-fis, romances, mysteries, classics, and even more. After 30 days, you'll receive another book, and it'll cost you $7.99 a month, but you can cancel anytime. And it's super easy.
They're all pretty cheap, to be honest. Now, especially nowadays. With
definitely. Everything's going up, innit? And you can download and listen to the world's best-selling books, enjoy audiobooks and original series on the app as well as online.
You love it.
Woo, it's all good. So much stuff on there. We'll leave a link in the description, and it helps us out because we get a little kickback from you joining up.
We need all the help we can get.
So get on that, if you please. And like I say, you don't have to be Erich Von Daniken.
No. It could be any topic.
It's just that, with us talking about this stuff tonight. Yeah. Well, anyway.
It's definitely worth a go.
It's worth a punt.
Yeah.
I mean, with the amount of free trials you get with these things, like you sign up for a free trial, and then if you cancel it, they want you to come back, so they try and offer you another one anyway. A couple of months later.
That's true.
So you end up with, I've had it and cancelled it, and I've got loads of books, Audible books, audio books even.
Use the system.
Use and abuse the system.
If you can, yes. Why not?
Well,
then open doors.
We'll stop trying to flog your stuff now.
We will.
No, well, wait, whoa, 1 minute. We have merch as well.
Yes,
if you want to get some merch, get over to the website.
Lovely merch.
At neverastraightanswer.co.uk. Yeah. There we go. Well, going into this week's episode, we've talked a little bit about it already, but the Nazca lines, a group of geoglyphs made in the soil of Nazca, in the Nazca Desert, southern Peru, So they were created between 500 BCE and 500 CE.
Yeah.
By people making depressions and, basically moving the desert floor, removing pebbles and leaving a different coloured dirt exposed. Yeah. I think because of
taking away the topsoil.
It's weird though, isn't it? Because you'd think that over that sort of time, that just a bit of wind and sort of, the Sahara Desert
as well.
is, it gets quite gusty and, it shifts the sand. Do you know what I mean? Whereas the, obviously the Nazca Desert seems to be quite arid in that respect. There's not so much of that wind.
Yeah, but
if you like, there must be some, because I mean, how have these lines managed to survive so long just by someone kicking a bit of dirt away and exposing a bit of a different sand? I always thought there must have been some sort of salt or something in there to stop anything from growing in them, to kind of, or maybe they replaced it or used a different sort of material.
Well, apart from getting food and sorting out shelter and that, they didn't really have a lot to do back then. So if you think about it in the way of walking a path, now if you did exactly the same thing in a field, you would create your own path because there's so many people going down that path and stomping it. So in a way, you could create it by in the afternoon. Right, we're going for a walk. This is the pattern we got to walk. We keep doing that, and that's
what you mean, like desire lines.
Yeah,
because I mean, have you ever done that where you've kind of like you take that shortcut across the park or whatever, rather than going on the designated path?
Yeah,
you end up creating a new path, don't you? Yeah, and it's a desire line, which ends up being like, sort of like a cut through or a little shortcut that people use.
Then I'd have to turn around and backtrack a little bit, because
it's basically
I might
cutting
be wrong
a corner out, isn't it? Really,
because they're actually perfectly shaped.
Well, we'll go into this in a minute, because there's loads of kind of things that I've thought about these patterns and shapes. That
no, I mean shape as in the road, as if you did a path. You'd only create, a little bit of path, but these were like
I think there's definitely holes in that sort of theory. There was two major phases of the Nazca lines. The Paracas phase, which was an Andean society, which was around about approximately 800 BCE to 100 BC, and 100 BCE.
I never understand them BC.
I know, I'm kind of like that.
Stick with the old...
It used to be before Christ and then
after death.
After death, anyway.
Which ain't a real term, by the way.
They had a good knowledge of irrigation and water management.
That's true.
And they made significant contributions in textile art, apparently.
That's true as well, yeah. There's some beautiful art that they...
And then, after that, which was... the phase was from 4 to 200 BCE, and then the Nazca phase was 200 BCE to 500 BCE. Or CE.
Yeah.
What the hell was CE?
CE, no fucking idea, to be honest. But talking about art, there is a lot of pottery around these areas as well. I mean, a lot of pottery.
I mean, there's been... Right, so when do you think the first sighting of one of these lines, or first sort of media attention or anybody writing about these lines was?
I don't think it was until late on, like that. I'm thinking like 60s.
Earlier than that. No, there was way earlier than that. The lines actually were first talked about in 1556.
Yes.
And do you know what I mean? It's like that is quite an old, but they thought
Spanish
that
sailor wanted.
They thought that they were just
walk it like
roads or lines.
Yeah.
No, actually, they had another idea for what they were. I'm just trying to find it now.
Okay. Well, it weren't that long ago, actually. It was, I think it was about 5 years ago, maybe even less, where a lorry and a road was actually going over the lines that was actually produced for a picture.
Yeah, so the first published mention of the Nazca lines was by Pedro de Leon in his book, which came out in 1553, and it describes them as trail markers. So, so I mean, you know, they were going back quite a lot. I mean, then they were brought back up in 1927 by a Peruvian archaeologist who spotted them whilst hiking through the foothills. He described them as at a conference in 1939. But up until then, that was just a description of what he'd saw, or what he thought or what he thinks would be visible from the air. Yeah. And that leads me to what, you know, I'm getting at. I mean, it's like these lines, right? So, do you think that if I made you walk in a straight line, like over a vast distance, because these lines go on for miles and miles, right? Do you think you could walk in a continuous straight line without deviating off that straight line with no markers?
No.
Do you think it'd be a wobbly line? Because I do. I think,
there are some wobbly ones out, but like you say, wobbly, there are proper straight ones,
super straight parallel lines.
There's even one that looks like a landing strip.
Well, this is the thing, because Erich Von Daniken actually thought that they were runways. And describes them in Chariot of the Gods as runways.
It still might be
for UFOs or whatever, right? But the idea behind these big, you know, geoglyphs of animals, plants, you know, people. Other people, all sorts of things.
No aliens, though, I must admit, there is.
Well, there's a couple that look a bit alien, I'll be honest, right? Yeah.
Okay.
But if you were trying to create that from a standing point on the ground, and you had no aerial reference. I mean, we watched Art Attack as kids, right? With like, what was it, Neil Buchanan? Yeah. And he'd do these really impressive aerial pieces, and it was like, I always used to think, wow, how does he do that without being able to see from the top? But I mean, he would have had monitors being able to see the aerial shot that we saw
and
be able to plan it out, whereas like most people, especially these ancient Peruvians, you know, with the pan flutes, going, well, how the fuck do we manage to how do they create these massive images? And then again, it's the symmetrical nature of the images as well. So it's like, if I'm trying to draw a picture of a man, say, right, and I go, right, I'll start with his leg or his inside leg, and then I do it like the shape of a gingerbread man, or a dead body outline, and I try and join that shape. So I start in the inside leg, draw his first leg, round, draw his arm, up to the head, and round again, draw another arm, down another leg, and then join it up, right? But trying to do that with fucking miles of like land, and then still have it symmetrical and line up, and be able to be visible from space, and be still be able to make out what it is. I know people who can't play Pictionary, and draw something on a piece of paper, never mind be able to draw a depiction of a bird or a hummingbird or a man or any sort of like creature that's found on this planet,
spider as well,
in such a way that is mind-blowing, that you can't explain how they did it, because at the end of the day, air travel and air surveillance, satellite surveillance, even hot air balloon wasn't available to these people.
That's right.
So they wouldn't have been able to get an aerial perspective of any of it.
But I kind of think, like, sometimes, even though I'm going to do it after I say this sentence next, I think sometimes we consider that past generations were actually thick. You know what I mean? It's like
they were.
They were to a certain degree, but we can't judge.
Not all of them.
Yeah, exactly. There's always been, that spark to bring the generation next up.
Yeah, I suppose. Most of the lines run straight across the landscape, but there's also figurines and designs of animals and plants. The combined length of all of the lines is more like 1,300 kilometres or 800 miles.
Like, 2,500 pictures, and they've just found another 120 of them last year.
Right, yeah. In fact, no, they were actually found about 800 of them last year.
800,
right. They found, in fact, I've just found the statistic there because they actually have found loads of them.
Yeah, they keep finding more and more, and it's like the full picture is not developed yet. So we can only speculate on what we've seen already, and when we get the full picture, then we might actually have the conclusion. So we've just got to find the rest of the whole bits within that picture, and they're doing a really, really good job on it at the minute, and especially now with satellites and balloons and planes and stuff like that, it's more easier to spot, I suppose, now.
Yeah, well, this is it. I mean, these are hundreds of simple lines, but there's also like shapes, like I say, more than 70 like sort of zoomorphic designs, including humanoid spiders, fish, condors, herons, monkeys, lizards, cats, dogs, and humans. Other shapes include trees and flowers. It's crazy stuff, isn't it?
And they also, quite a number of them have mounds, 2 mounds at the bottom of the pictures, which is stone, and they actually have stuff like crab shells, all kind of water-based animals, small animals, all over the place there as well, for some reason, which is kind of, you could, I suppose, put it as maybe a kind of religion, or, you know, something like that. They're praying for the gods for, you know, rain. So they only need a little bit because they were really good with sorting their water systems out.
Well, this is the thing as well, right? And you'd think that if, it's a desert, right? Yeah. It's the Nazca Desert.
In fact, I think one part's never been rained on.
Well, this is what I was going to say, right? Yeah. But in 2019, there was an article in the Smithsonian magazine which described recent work from a team of Japanese researchers who identified that some of the birds that were depicted were actually not like native to deserts, right?
Yeah, that's
They were
right.
more frequently found in like tropical, exotic, rainforesty style habitations.
But
so
I'd counter that on that travelling.
Well, that's fine, but I mean, travelling. I mean, that's
boats from like sailors coming in, and they've already been to tropics.
But are they?
Like
but them sailors aren't then getting off the boat and having the skills and knowledge to be able to go and carve a bird in the desert. This is what I'm getting at. It's like it must be knowledge that was obtained by these people. It was local knowledge, or they were drawing what they saw, right?
Yeah.
So
totally.
Two things that point to Peru. I mean, Peru saying it's the, you know, I'm not sure if it's kind of jungly in parts or it's just desert or arid.
It's mostly desert.
Then, if these guys were really good at like water irrigation, that suggests to me that there was water there, right? Yeah. If not much water in the desert, and if there are species of plant and bird that technically only really thrive in sort of jungle in habitats, then it would suggest that like it was a bit of a different climate and a bit of different environment back then. So
I
so
totally
would these kind of
could have been
images been able to be, were they kind of able to view them from high up? Were they tree canopies? Were they anything that would, restrict the view of these images? And that's now true. That, that's cleared, that now we can see them more clearly, but...
That's possibly
I don't know, maybe. But apparently these resembled more exotic birds not found in the desert habitats. So
somehow they've seen
the reason exotic birds were described in the geoglyphs is that the birds are closely related to the to more like existing species potentially.
That's true. I mean, for all we know, a lot of different species that we've never even known.
So what do you think about the UFO connection then? Do you think that they were put there by ancient alien worshippers, or people who maybe have come to the planet and these ancient Peruvian societies have witnessed it and they're trying to get their attention, or...
To be honest, at the minute, I'm trying to think of ways of not bringing UFOs into it, as in, working it a different way to try and see if it would work out much more sense of what it is, instead of just turning straight away and going UFOs. But I do, I got to believe
is a
that
first.
I'll
say that now. That is a first for Taylor. He's leaning against UFOs.
No, but I've got to also consider the area and UFOs over the last millennium.
Is Peru considered a hotspot for UFOs?
Yeah, you know what? Peru is what I think that we were the first who actually turned round and went, we have UFOs. Here are our documents.
Okay,
here are our reports that have gone off.
Von Daniken's published book, it was a bestseller, titled Chariots of the God in 1968.
Yeah.
His book describes his theory that these mysterious lines were used as landing sites for UFOs. He theorized that the shapes in the lines were made by aliens that were there.
It's a possibility. This is what I mean about trying to not go the UFO route. But
he even says that they were used to help steer their starships.
Yeah.
As these would work as landing pads. Von Daniken claims that the patterns looked like very similar to modern airports in their design. Do you know, and like cross runways and stuff.
Yeah, they properly do, and it does beg the question that some kind of craft is being used or possibly being used, which has got to be aliens at the end of the day.
Well, he also goes in about talking about the human-like beings with golden shimmering skin walking amongst them and away from the ships. These ancient astronauts, I think, obviously it's like we used to do a bit of a drinking game on Ancient Aliens where it'd be like every time they said some ancient astronaut theorists believe. Because he'd say it I think we counted 37 in one episode once. It was just ridiculous. But the ancient alien or ancient astronaut theory of aliens visiting the planet, then these birds. There's some theorists who think that they're not birds at all, and the crafts.
Yeah.
They're not flowers at all, but they're the crafts.
And don't forget, there are a lot of sites around there as well, which have have you seen the site? I can't remember the name of it, where it's like H's. They're like big blocks of H's, and they can connect together. And there was a massive city there.
More of the idea behind that is the workmanship on those buildings.
Couldn't do it now.
So precise, and the rock fits together so precisely that it must be cut with lasers. There's no way that we could replicate it. Well, we couldn't have done that back then with some of the best tools we've got now.
Really difficult now. But and then there's other places around there, and then crash sites and stuff like that. I mean, Peru is like a really good place for UFOs, to be honest. So. That's why I have the question of, are they involved in it? It's like a too simple answer.
Yeah, but it makes me
you
think
know
that if there was a strong UFO activity, and maybe they did land, maybe they did interact with the local Peruvian people. The fact that there was two phases of it, right? Obviously, interest was sparked back up. A reason to do this. Why are they doing it? Why? Again, they had no method of getting aerial sort of surveillance on the area. So unless they just knew that these lines were there from historical sort of storytelling, they would have had to rather rediscover the lines were there, or have that knowledge passed down to them from the other generations who did it, the other phase of doing it, right? So, for what reason did they find it so important to take up the cause again? Right, that makes me think that they had a visitation.
Yeah.
They tried to use these geoglyphs as a means of trying to communicate and talk to them and get them to entice them back, potentially.
Yeah.
Maybe they had another visitation and they said, oh, we saw one of your geoglyphs or whatever. And they were like, what are you talking about?
Yeah, yeah.
And they said, oh, well, if you ever, we fly by here every now and again, so we will keep an eye out. If you draw us another picture, we might respond. I don't know.
We know they're still here. They're still there.
They're still waiting for us to draw a big picture somewhere in the sand.
Or it might be a picture to the mates, like, we're living around this area.
It's like a postcard, isn't it? It's like, having a fab time, wish you were here.
Yeah.
Weather's all right. Weather's a bit shit. We're in Manchester.
There's a famous lady, I can't remember her name, but there's a famous lady around there who, for, I think from her 20s till she was 90.
Wasn't Maria Ritchie, was it?
It could be.
Scientist and astrologer. Archaeologist who declared, she basically said Von Daniken's ideas were poppycock.
Oh no, this lady every single day she'd go out and actually sweep the lines.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Every single day,
the Nazca line sweeper.
Yeah, and she was famous within the area of it.
Do you know her? Yeah, she only ever had one brush.
Yeah.
It had 9 new handles and 10 new heads.
Yeah. But it had one
trigger. It was the same brush. I'm joking, Trig. All right, Trig. Well, apart from, obviously Von Daniken's theories did get dismissed quite a lot. The chariot. I can't say it.
Chariots.
I keep saying charity of the gods, chariots of the gods.
Yeah.
And the theories that it contained were basically like, discarded. A lot of scientists and archaeologists also were unable to prove that these lines were ever made by using simple tools. So it's kind
of Cock, because the guy's an absolutely genius on some of the connections between the past, and there's snippets out of it, but there's a lot there to actually tell you how the past was, not how we've been told the past was or is.
Okay, fair enough. Well, like I say, I mean, do you think his sort of writings are more kind of thought of nowadays, or do you think more people still just know who he is and think he's talking out of his bum?
Yeah, no, I think
because he did become one of the most most revered ufologists, and in terms of kind of being a reputable source of information.
There's tons, and there's absolutely tons of it. I mean, it's like that. I think it was in Greece. That piece of metal. It looked like a clockwork. It ended up. It was like something like 3 million years old or something like that. Or nails that were found at a pinpoint, like perfect to the like as perfect as you can get.
Yeah.
Yet they're like 4 million years old.
I mean, there must be some restoration as well, because, like you say, I mean, it does rain.
Even shows restoration wrong.
So the lines themselves are superficial. They only around about 10 to 30 centimeters or 4 to 12 inches deep, and could be washed away. So this is how I don't understand how they've been there so long without getting damaged or rained or blew away by the wind or whatever.
How did they know that soil was the one to do it on?
Yeah, and I mean, considering it's only like in the last, say, 100 years that we've realised they need protecting and they're there.
Yeah,
and we keep finding new ones. Yeah, right. Then how are these not been destroyed in the time?
Yeah. It's more positive
the fact that they do have preservation and environmental concerns, so the lines themselves, like say, they're pretty kind of shallow and not very wide, so it's just really weird that they've survived. They were flooding and mudslides in the area in mid-February 2007, which meant that, a team of specialists had to go and survey the area and make sure that it was and sort it out, In 2012, squatters occupied the land and damaged many of the lines. I know, isn't it? Allowing their pigs to have access to some of the land. In 2013, there was a limestone quarry that was reported to have been destroyed, and a small section of a line was caused to be damaged. Then in December 2014, there was controversy involving the Greenpeace activity on the site. As Greenpeace activists set up a banner with the lines to line up with the geoglyphs. And they basically damaged the site.
Oh, not
so Greenpeace issued an apology following the incident.
So I had to destroy one thing and not another. You know what I mean?
So then, in January 2018, there was a truck driver who was arrested but later released for lack of evidence for an incident where he was supposedly damaged 3 of the geoglyphs.
That's the guy.
Leaving sustainable, big, quite large marks across the area.
Fucking tire marks, yeah, he'd been using it for a long time.
Well, no, he'd been let go because he didn't have any evidence, but, like, he probably did it. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
I've mean, there is kind of a lot of concern in the heritage of these things. They do need to be kept, safe. Like I say, there is one of, like, a kind of a big-eyed, alien-looking guy. And like I say, even the spider, that spider, if you were trying to get the symmetrical element of that spider correct, and from the ground and having no aerial sort of help, then that's such a hard thing to do.
The hummingbird, though, that's so...
There's a few of them. There's a few of them. I mean, as well, when I look at the geoglyphs, do you know what I think of?
Hot dogs.
Etch-a-sketch.
Oh, right.
Do you know how? Do you know how you can't draw on Etch-a-Sketch without just doing like a joined up picture, right? All the images look like they were drew on Etch-a-Sketch. In that sort of that there's hardly any curved angles. They were all kind of straight lines, and not very many curves because you can't do curves on an Etch-a-Sketch.
Oh, you're saying like we might be in the Matrix there then?
Well, maybe this is just some fucking God's doodle pad.
Hey, well,
he was just there going 7 days to make the world. All right, I'll just sketch out a few bits here. I might just do a. Well, that
lay
looks
back
cool.
there.
What size that spider? Yeah, we'll call that a spider. Fuck it, that's a tree. There we go. Yeah,
we'll make one of them. Yeah, we might as well. We've drawn one. We might as well make. That's his sketchbook.
That's it. It's his sketchbook. God's sketchbook. There, the creator's tools of when he was all these little kind of concepts. So do you know in terms of collectibles?
Yeah.
That's like, the ultimate collectible, isn't it? Do you know, like the proof versions of proof sort of images that he's kind of put together. Interesting stuff.
Mad, though.
Getting into religious shit there, though. Anyway, well, there you go. What do you guys think at home? Do you think that there is something to it? Do you think there's an alien connection? Or do you just think it's like a coincidence that man-made and that they just happen to make all these really cool pictures?
And they have tested some of the theories out, like in 1901, I believe, a bunch of people went out there and got in a balloon and tried it out, but it didn't exactly work out because they couldn't keep the balloon stable.
Why were they trying to do it from the air? Like create a geoglyph from the air?
Yeah, seeing if they back then they did actually have balloons, but it was like made with materials that rot away and like so we couldn't actually find out.
I mean, as well, there's actually sea creatures like the whale, and
that's right.
The giant. The giant, we were talking about giants earlier, and do you think that maybe giants, is this evidence to suggest that giants were about?
I would just say, where's the footprints, if we were going into that conclusion?
Yeah, I suppose.
Where the hand marks?
Because if any of this is kind of like...
there's no tools there either.
Quite shallow marks or whatever, then it would have been done with... not many tools. I wouldn't imagine you wouldn't have needed tools. Is this the sort of thing that you could just do with your foot?
I wonder if it is
just kicking the dirt away. Do you know what I mean? Creating that pattern.
Here's an idea. What about let's go into UFOs there. What about that they actually alien ships come across and fired a radiation beam down to make the design of the picture, which in a lot of reports
that's why it looks like this is what I was getting at with the Etch-a-Sketch thing, because say if I was in a UFO and I was using a laser to draw, you wouldn't get like pen strokes or anything like that. It'd be very Etch-a-Sketchy, you know what I mean, because you're trying to maneuver your ship around as your pen. I'm doing a wiggly bottom movement here while I'm telling you this. Well, no, you'd have to move your craft around to get these designs, but you wouldn't be as fluid as drawing with a pen or anything like a drawing implement. It'd be more kind of just trying to move this ship around and trying to fly your ship in a way that you could draw a picture with it. Yeah, right, using your laser or whatever you've got at your disposal. But
I wonder if
it'd be very etch-a-sketcher, is what I'm getting at. Your picture wouldn't come out very neat, is what I'm saying.
But there is some perfectly neat ones there, though. But it's the case of
I don't know.
When a craft lands, it always leaves a radiation mark, which stops the growth in that area. So if I'm thinking more radiation.
Yeah, but they're just making images, the pictures. It's like this is what I get at when I'm talking about crop circles, about how they're very artistic, these aliens, because they're very kind of like creative with their.
Made a triangle there.
Well, we've just if a crop circle's made by a UFO landing, right? Yeah, then the undercarriage of a UFO must be pretty fancy. Because a lot of them are really like all these like these sort of like crazy shapes and stuff going on, and perfectly symmetrical patterns and stuff. And it's like, well, I mean, what's the underside of your car like?
Don't know. I don't go under there.
Exactly,
that's why I pay a
mechanic. What I'm saying. So it's like, but I mean, what I'm saying is it's not pretty, yeah. But all these UFO undercarriages seem to be all like technically designed, and they're all different.
Well, if you were going to another planet, I suppose you need to have the perfect and the most.
Put your best pants on.
Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? You're going somewhere, and you're going to leave a message.
Leave a good impression.
Keep your equipment,
well, this is why they've not approached us yet, because they've seen what we've left on the moon, and they were like, "It's made of fucking tinfoil, this shit."
Fucking
like, these guys are like clampets.
Anyway, alien ship itself.
Right, well, if you do believe that it's aliens or if they're just man-made, I mean, we do give a lot of credit to other kind of otherworldly sort of entities for our achievements here on Earth. Yeah. It might be made by the Peruvian people.
It might be us that has survived the last fuck up that we've done, and they've just got they're more advanced, and they just bring us forward again.
Or try to. Back. It's crazy that we're only just noticing it now.
Wow. Well, there's a lot of lies out there, isn't there?
Well, it's an interesting topic, the Nazca line. The Nazca people, must have been quite interested. Pretty good artists getting all them drawings created.
Oh, yeah.
Did have some extra facts here for you. The longest glyph found in Nazca goes around 9 miles, which is quite long.
Yeah.
The lines were formed by carefully removing the reddish iron oxide pebbles. So it reminds me of that in the Star Wars movie.
Which one?
Do you know the newer one where like you've got them ships flying across the desert and they cut into the desert floor and it's kind of white desert, but then it brings up all this red.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of feels like the reverse of that. But according to a legend, the mysterious Inca creator god Viracocha commissioned the Nazca lines and the glyphs in the past.
He commissioned it?
Yes, said, I want these pictures drawn.
Fair enough. If he wants it, he wants it, doesn't he?
Oh, there you go. There's a few extra facts for you. There you go. Well, we've got some news coming up, I think.
We have, I believe so.
We've just been... Earlier on, we were having this crazy chat. I think it's something that we might have to bring up in the show, actually, at some point. A bit of a new theory.
Yeah.
I have to get on that at some point.
Yeah, definitely. He was.
I've just blew Taylor's mind, basically.
Well, no, you don't blow me.
I didn't blow my mind.
You got my mind fucking going. I'll grant
give you that one. Clever than it looks, this kid. Anyway,
surprising.
Right. Well, I surprise myself sometimes. Well, we've got some news, so without further ado, before that, if you do have any questions, queries, or want anything to add about Nazca lines or Erich Von Daniken, send us an email at neverstraightanswer@gmail.com or hit us up on social. You can go to the website and go to the contact us page.
Yeah.
Love to hear from you.
We would love it.
Always love a good chit chat with one of our listeners. We'll be bringing shout outs back at some point.
Yeah.
As well. Because that's something I miss. I do miss that. We used to do that back in the day.
We did.
Do a lot of shout outs.
I don't know why we stopped.
If you'd like a shout out or a promotional plug, send us in your whatchamacallit, your promo, and we'll feature you. Yeah, if you like. Right, well, moving on, we got some news. Here we go. It's the news. It's the newsy news. Get the boozy news.
Get the news out, man.
I got lots of news. A lot of weird people, as usual. We've looked around the World Wide Web to find the newsiest news around, and I think you'll find that we've got the nosiest newsy news around you can find.
Newsy.
It's news, right? Anyway. So, first news I'm going to talk about is Fox News say Trump's mugshot will replace the T-shirt of the revolutionary icon Che Guevara.
Hey, you know what?
I don't think it will, to be honest.
I think it'd be out there for a while, though, you know what I mean?
I just find it funny that he's got a mugshot. The mugshot of the former president, Donald Trump, will overtake the Marxist icon Che Guevara as a symbol of what? Fuck off. I don't believe you. Che Guevara was like a revolutionary icon.
So Trump.
Nah, I don't buy that. Yeah, well, we'll see. I mean, obviously, he's been, charged with over 30 odd counts of stuff that nobody really knows what it is, but stuff.
Yeah, the seal still ain't.
There's a seal on that, but some of the allegations are sending hush money to a former lover and porn star. Yeah, I assume she was a former lover.
Well,
maybe it wasn't hush money. Maybe it was like payment because ew.
Well, he might have been a kinky fucker, you know what I mean? He might be, he might be into some freaky shit.
I don't care what he's into. I just don't think that's going to happen. In historical sense of the word, I feel like Che Guevara's image is iconic and.
Yeah, but like
it's not one of those things where. Let us know what your opinions are. I mean, would you wear the Che Guevara T-shirt or the Donald Trump T-shirt over the Che Guevara T-shirt? Not like over it, but like like the multi-layers.
I'd wear both. It depends what I'm wearing that day.
If you're wearing your beret or not.
Yeah.
Fair enough. There's a lot of stuff going on around the States and Florida. We'll get into in a minute.
Oh. Yeah.
But check this out. Texas man used Apple AirTags. To track down the person who stole his truck.
What?
That's good news, yeah?
Yeah.
Well, no, because then he killed him.
Joking. Yeah. Oh, shit.
You stole my truck. Yeah, I mean, no one steals a man's truck, but I mean, the police in San Antonio, Texas, said a man killed another man who allegedly stole his truck after tracking the thief with an Apple AirTag. So, I mean...
Well, don't go around thieving fucking trucks.
Well, there's a lesson in it, isn't there? Definitely. I mean, if you are a truck thief, right? You might. Well, if you're a thief of any kind, right? Yeah, I feel like there's people striking back against thieves. Yeah, you've got porch pirates. Yeah, I don't know if you've seen these anti-porch pirate devices that people are making. They're putting them on YouTube.
You mean scumbags?
They basically got fart spray and glitter bombs and all these things that if you were to steal my Amazon package, you might think twice the next time because you've just had a glitter bomb go off in your house and now you got to clean the fucker up.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah. So it's like having AirTags, having a way that you can GPS track something like Bond or like the FBI.
Yeah.
It's quite a handy little thing that the average consumer can get nowadays,
That's true.
So,
that's true.
And because people are serious about the theft of the property, then they're going to tag it up if they can afford it, So,
of course.
I mean, thieves beware, because, I mean, there's a lot of people who are taking the protection of their property more seriously. And I think that what it is we work hard, right? There's a fucking, recessions on most of the countries in the world. Everyone's struggling. There's a cost of living crisis.
Yeah.
And the things that people have, they work hard for, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Thieving from, an aimless corporation's one thing, but when you're stealing from just hard-working people, that is a fucking...
Corporations
I don't say this often, but it's cunt trick, right? Yeah. And I feel like when people are stealing from normal, everyday, hard-working people, it's not fair, right? And it's like, so I don't blame people for wanting to protect stuff like the bike, the truck, the car, the caravans, the campers, whatever. And to be honest, the police are getting so bad that, you tell them that it's theft, they don't want to know, right? So it is basically down to you to try and get your property back, right? Yeah. And if you can prove and, track it down yourself and then call the police and say, listen, I'm stood outside the property, the truck's on the drive,
and they say, you need to come down
and fucking get this guy to give me my car back, then you're halfway there, aren't you, really? Because they don't want to do the detective work anymore.
Didn't two people we know, their car got nicked, John?
Oh, right.
Their car got nicked, so they reported it, and obviously the police were sat on their, they were on the tea break all year.
Doing a chippy run.
Yeah, you know what I mean? And they basically tracked it down, and they had the choice of either getting into the car, because he had the spare key, and getting off, or knocking on the door, confronting him, and then getting in the car and fucking off. So they got there, they called the police got the report, and I don't even think they said they were coming round. You'd have to deal with it on your own. So it was like, really? So the guy had a knife, apparently. So it was like, okay.
How did they get the car? Did they hotwire it or something?
No, they had a spare key. So
how did they get a spare key?
Well,
the people who thieved it, I mean.
No, they nicked the. I don't know. They must have left the car
unattended.
Or it could have been a letterbox one. Where the.
Well, who knows how they got it? But I mean, the point you're making is the police aren't really willing to kind of go out the way for you. No. I feel like I've had bicycles stolen, and one incident where I had a bike stolen, and I found the guy on Facebook. Selling it on Marketplace, right? So, I struck up a conversation with the fella, and he's like trying to arrange a meet with me on like one of the shiftiest, dodgiest estates in Manchester. Thinking that I'm going to turn up with like £500 to buy this bike back. Right. And he doesn't know that it's my bike. No, I'm just playing dumb saying I want to buy a bike. Basically got the guy's name, phone number, estate, everywhere where he lives, everything. Yeah. I went to the police, can I have my bike back? Will you go and get my bike back? And they just went, oh, well, you might have got it off a mate. I just went, was receiving stolen goods not a crime anymore? It was like, theft doesn't seem to be a crime anymore. It's one of those.
Americans.
Well, I mean, do you think this guy was in the right? I mean, he took it a bit extreme. Like you were saying about John there, saying, was he going to confront him, knock on and ask him, what the fuck's going on? Why have you taken my car? But this guy obviously did confront
and it went a bit
the thief, and it's gone a bit obviously extreme, and he's ended up murdering the guy. I don't. He's lost. Has he lost his life? Or I mean, it's one of those. I mean, is he going to get arrested and tried for the murder?
Yeah, he's done it. So, and if he's admitted it, he's done it. Obviously, he might be able to do manslaughter.
They're actually still determining whether the suspect will be charged.
See, because it's circumstances.
It was a fatal shooting, but Officer Nick Schultz said people shouldn't take matters into their own hands if the car is stolen. But I mean, like I say,
well, if the police do the fucking
it's
job,
one of those things where it's like, well, again, I mean, we've got a story coming up about Trump, and what was he wants to defund the police, doesn't he?
Oh yeah,
in the United States, So I mean, it's one of those. It's like they need funding, not defunding.
Yeah, but I think it may be taken in the wrong way because.
It just makes me think that it's like when the next insurrection happens, there's not going to be enough coppers to deal with it, and that's the plan.
Well, no, I don't.
Well,
think
that's how it looks.
It might look that way.
But even Fox News said they can't stand by it, and they love him. Do you know what I mean? They were like, "No, we can't agree with that one, mate."
Yeah, but a lot of them just take a little snippet. Police. Yeah, well, they do need more police, but they need more police that actually know the job right and actually ain't criminals themselves.
They're just stormtroopers, aren't they? They're there to protect the establishment and the government, right? And then whenever, like, the public or the common people want to kind of say anything or uprise, they go, whoa, 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 and they get in the way, right?
Yeah.
So, are they there to protect us, or are they just really there to protect us from them?
Well, actually...
Or the people who are in power. Anyway, that's a whole other kind of fish, isn't it?
Well, actually goes on to a bit of news about the Met, the British police.
Oh, the Manchester... not the Met, the Metropolitan Police.
Yeah. who were they're now investigating their own officers for any criminal activities or been in jail before they actually become a copper, because apparently there's quite a number of them that have already got criminal backgrounds before they actually entered the police force. So the checks was really slim, and they've just changed where you used to be able to just walk into a police station and say, I want to be a copper, and then they give you a little bit of training and throw you back on the beat. But for a couple of years now, they've been trying to get the police forces themselves to send him to university. I think it's for about 3 years to, properly learn the job, not just do it the little bits that, are making him have a bad name. Because there was a report out that the British police, we don't trust the British police now, and it's gone up to 85%
I wonder
of
why
the
that
population.
is. That's funny, that, isn't
But
it?
in 2016, it was only something like 67% of the population didn't trust the police. So it's gotten
So they fucked off to 80% more of the population somehow. Yeah,
I mean? He's like so they're now investigating
Good work,
their
lads.
own. But there isn't. There's a lot of bad coppers in there, but there are a lot of good coppers.
You hear him
well.
all the time using that. They always play good cop, bad cop, don't you? So that that means at least 50%. Of the police are bad cops.
Yeah, but it sometimes works against certain criminals. You being the fucking bad cop, you know what I mean? Being the nasty bastard.
They love it, don't they?
And getting getting them.
Talking about suspect people, right? And you were saying there about people who've caused crimes before.
Yeah.
This is a story about a Pleasant Hill police call that they got over there in the States. Yeah. They received an unusual call on Wednesday afternoon from the Gopher Financial Bank that had been robbed.
Okay.
It was being robbed by an elderly woman.
Fuck off.
Witnesses said that the suspect was dressed in grey, had plastic gloves on.
Grey hair.
She was wearing a black N96 mask and sunglasses. She approached the counter and passed the teller a note, which apparently said, fill the fucking bag with 13,000 small bills. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to scare you.
Oh,
so surveillance videos captured her banging on the counter and asking the teller to hurry up and give her the money.
I'd love to know her excuse.
Well, it's not the first time she's done it, apparently. She's known.
That's the criminal.
Well, she's 78.
Hey, hard times, man.
A 78-year-old woman has been accused of robbing a Missouri bank. But yeah, it's not her first time. So, I mean, this is what I always say, right, about kind of the elderly. Everyone says you got to respect the elderly, and I do agree with that.
Yeah,
I do totally agree with that,
They can be the
well, it's one of them. It's like,
fuckers.
You might think, oh, look at that lovely old lady there, 78 years old. She looks like butter wouldn't melt. Yeah. She reminds me of my gran. Yeah, I'm going to help her cross the road. Meanwhile, she's pickpocketed you, stole your identity.
Totally.
Yeah. She, I'm not being funny, but like there was that incident there. Was that it's a secretary of some we worked in Auschwitz.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And she was she was like 80.
Yeah, that's.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but it's I'm sure people were like, oh, Mrs. What's her name? She's a lovely old lady. Works down the road. Works in the post office. But God knows what she got up to in her 20s.
There's been a number of Nazis like that over the years.
We're not saying all old people are Nazis. Don't get us wrong. No. Some of them are.
Yeah, some of them are. Well, they were. They were running away, weren't they? Yeah, a lot of them are.
Anyway, right. Well, moving on.
Yeah.
Have you got any news you'd like to talk about?
I have. King Charles.
Hashtag not my king. Seen that a lot lately.
Oh yeah, I know.
So what's the sketch with King Charles?
Right, well, he has now changed the Queen.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Because she was the Queen consort, wasn't she? She was consorting with the King.
Yeah, but
like
now,
a floozy.
On the invites that he sent out to everyone who knows him, obviously, she's now to be known.
I haven't had mine yet, I haven't seen it.
Yeah, George,
no, I've not seen it.
Yeah, I got mine this morning. Well, Camilla is now to be known as Queen, not Queen Consort.
Queen Camilla?
Yes, which gives us a little bit of bitter in me mouth, you know what I mean?
And hashtag not my queen.
Yeah.
I was saying this about, like, we grew up with the Queen. The Queen was there before us, really.
Legend,
so, I mean,
mate.
It's like, legend. It's like, you can't say... And she's very stoic, very kind of knew what she was kind of like,
willing to change.
Never gave emotion, really kind of like a strong pillar.
Yeah, very strong.
And
well respected
in a lot of ways, you would say our queen, right?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people are kind of thinking, no, I'm not down with Charles. Because Charles, for a long period in our lives, has been kind of bit of a joke, really, considering he's not been able to,
the family.
Be the king, and everyone was like, Spitting Image made so many jokes about him, like trying to kill her off and become the king. And,
I actually used to be known.
And that was 20 years ago, do you know what I mean? So for the last, God knows, I mean, the guy's nearly past it himself. He's like, give him a couple of months.
I was actually known to do a really good impression of King Charles back in the day.
Give us a go.
I ain't fucking doing that again.
You shouldn't have brought it up. You need to do it if you're going to bring it up.
No, I'm not doing it.
Prince Charles, King Charles, Kingy Charles.
King Charles
Spaniel.
Well,
right?
Yeah. You don't get frocked,
He's like, gonna be seen in the next, so say if he's the king for the next, say, 20, 30 years.
Oh, please
These
don't.
kids who are kind of like in primary school, nursery school now, who are going to be like made to believe that the coronation's a big deal and all the rest of it. They'll get interviewed on the local news in 30 years' time going, when it's his 30-year jubilee.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, oh, where was you? I was my king. Because he will be their king, because he would have been their king for most of their lives. In fact, all of their lives.
Yeah.
It's a shift in the monarchy, but, I mean, in terms of...
shift.
We're at the end of our monarch. Yeah. So we're like, the new monarch.
I'm feeling less about him.
We already know who the successor is, and he's been a bit of a joke in our eyes for all these years. So, it's like, how can we take it seriously as our kind of new head of state, if you like? So it's one of those. So there is banners up. I've seen people putting banners up saying hashtag not my
you've seen
king.
all the British flags up now and all that. All for sale.
I can understand why. Yeah. I'm not sure I agree with the Queen Consort thing. I think she should just be called Queen Consort or Camilla.
No, you can't really just call her Camilla because she's more now. She's more than that now. In eyes, I suppose, the law and the people now, supposedly.
Well, just because she's married.
That's like saying the king's got the king's got a slapper.
Well, saying that, what I mean? Because I mean the Queen Mother. Yeah. When she was married to the king, she was the queen, wasn't she?
Yeah.
So why would this be any different? It's only because of the controversy with Diana.
Because I don't think she's suited.
It's only because of the controversy with Diana.
Stole him away from Diana.
The fact that it was his second marriage is this whole reason. So I mean, it's
an adulteress.
If he would have married her first, she would have just been queen and everybody would have been happy with it. It was only because of that controversy.
Yeah, but she's an adulteress there because she was going out behind each other's backs, behind Diana's back.
Mate, so if that's the worst thing going on in the royal family, I'll be honest.
Obviously not. Obviously not.
Then I'll let her off.
Harry's very happy now.
Fucking go and pay Andrew a visit, see what he's up to.
Yeah, he's been a bit quiet lately, hasn't he? You know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Apparently, he might be taking a few of our rights away. I'm fucking hoping not when he does like his speeches and
running out.
But yeah, I'm going to be listening closely on his speeches, like that. He's got to throw everything else away, like the World Economic Forum. He can't do things for them anymore or anyone else. He's got to solely look after the British people, and that is it. He's whatever he does, but there might be some changes, and if that happens, then a lot of laws will change as well, which won't go well with the population.
Okay, there you go.
Yes.
I've got this story about one of the. This is weird. One of the world's leading, most cited scientists, Raphael Lude, is it? Or LeCue? He's been suspended without pay for 13 years.
No money for 13 years?
Well, no, he's been suspended. Well, he works for a university, Cordoba, which is basically this University of Cordoba. I think that's how it's pronounced. If I'm wrong, I do apologise. But he publishes a study every 37 hours. Right, yeah. The guy's prolific in his work. He's like one of the world's leading scientists, right? And chemists, right? And
man knows how to work.
Well, God knows what he's done. He's put something in one of his papers.
He's told the truth somewhere.
He's been fucking suspended without pay for the next 13 years, according to himself. He's basically come out and said,
he can get another job.
He was working in the university until recently. This is in Spain.
Yeah.
And then the university sanctioned him for his work and working as a researcher at another centre, such as King Saud University and another university, the People's Friendship University of Russia. So he was obviously doing work for other people. Might have been out of his contract. Yeah, so moonlighting. But as Russia as well, so I don't know what exactly he was doing. He's a chemist. So, you know, which he basically uses, obviously, creates drugs and fuels and basically ways of generating less waste and stuff like that. There's a lot of kind of applications his work can be used for. What he's doing for Russia, fuck knows, but he's been suspended for 13 years. So does that just mean like he can't get a job at that university for 13 years? He's may as well have sacked him, haven't they, basically?
Yeah. They can't stop him from actually going out and getting another fucking job.
No, they can't stop him getting a job at another uni, but they can stop him getting a job at his university.
Yeah, but they could put pressure on the other university not to hire him and turn around and say, like, yeah, watch this geezer. He's writ the truth. So, like, you know, fuck off. Leave it, like...
Maybe. Well, it's not so much as doing the truth or saying the truth. It's right. It might not be anything to do with his papers. It's more to do with it. He's doing work for other universities. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, and what work he's doing is not really mentioned. So,
well, true.
It must have been bad if he's been, kicked off the force,
especially for 30.
Had to hand in his badge and his gun. I've got these two stories that go back to back. And this is two stories about Florida.
What's going on
you Floridians.
What's
crazy
going on?
Bastards.
Yeah.
They just get naked. This is the thing. They love getting naked and stealing things.
Oh, no. Oh, what?
We've got this first story about a naked man who steals a school bus to move a dead deer before embarking on a police chase. So, you know, this guy, right... so this is a naked Floridian man who was arrested for stealing a school bus. But he'd crashed his BMW, stole the school bus, because he'd found a dead deer and he wanted to use it for fertilizer on his lawn. Yeah.
So and it's such an emergency.
It was such an emergency that he crashed his BM, got the... he might have run over the deer whilst, you know, in the BM. Maybe that's why he crashed.
Oh, yeah, that could be it.
So then he's trying to he stole the bus, scooped the deer up, put it in the back of the school bus, and then there was around 7:10. There was one of those APBs.
Oh yeah.
Be on the lookout for a yellow vehicle. Yeah, right. There was a patrol car in Carroll Township around and about, and they basically saw it and gave chase.
Yeah.
He ended up crashing it. Later on, they found him naked by a railway track, swaddling and cuddling his dead friend. His dead
cuddling the fucking animal, dead animal.
Like, what the fuck you doing, bro?
Hey, shit.
So the suspect, identified by the police as Saunders, ran from the police as they stumbled on him by a nearby railroad track.
Oh, nuts.
Our second,
nuts.
a second naked Florida man. Story.
They love it there, don't they?
Yeah,
I know it's hot down there, but it's not that fucking hot.
It's a bit humid. That's it. It's just fucking stripping. So the naked, greased up Florida man, this guy. Yeah. So he's a greased up deaf guy.
What? Oh, what?
I wondered where he went. Yeah. I loved greased up deaf guys. You can't catch me.
He likes running around. He likes the nakedness.
You're not gonna get me.
Come on, grab me.
Well, deputies believe that the suspect was under the influence of this guy. He'd been breaking into people's properties and swimming in the pool.
Oh.
And then when the police tried to grab him, he was, "You can't get me, I'm greased up deaf guy."
Well, he better watch out, because they're known for crocodiles going into the alligators. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was he was engaged in activities such as jumping in the pool and jumping on the trampoline, according to sheriffs.
Do a bomber.
He's having a fucking buzz. That's what he was doing.
He's a kite. He's loving life.
He was living his best life. All right.
Yeah.
Have you got anything you would like to talk about?
I have. Have you heard this about China and Taiwan?
No.
The warships at the minute are close to each other, testing each other's waters, as they say.
World War III coming soon.
Well, I think something is brewing down there, to be honest, because they've been doing flybys on other countries' bases, flying by them as if they were a target. So
right,
okay. Closer and closer on the threats, and it's only going to take one thing to just go, right, I'm sick of this, you know what I mean? A general turns around and shoots a plane down or something, and then it kicks it off. But then again, there was a convoy from the USA went over there to do some business with them, to try and work out how to defend that country of any attacks by China. So that could have been the reason why they actually have pushed against them a little bit.
Okay, fair enough. Did you hear this about the assassination of the Russian...
Which one?
He was basically one of their tacticians. He was based at the Kremlin. He was a pretty high up guy.
Okay.
He was killed by what was assumed to be a terrorist.
Okay.
When they handed him a bomb, and he basically exploded. Right? Yeah. He's a Russian
he openly just
military tactician.
I like a bomb in me.
The woman who's been arrested now is a Russian art graduate. She'd unwillingly murdered this guy at the Kremlin. Basically, she thought she was on a job application, a job interview to be a journalist. Right? Yeah.
Okay.
For the Russian media have come out and exposed all this, but basically they've said that she thought she was on a propaganda resistance thing, yeah. So to test for a job that was based at a Kiev-based website, and that she basically went over and handed this Vladimir Telesky a bomb that killed him, yeah.
Right.
So she's obviously been arrested. A Russian prosecution on Tuesday basically charged her with terrorism 2 days after Telesky had died from the blast.
That's not good.
So I mean, I feel
patsy,
that
man.
she was a patsy. She basically got suckered into doing something, thinking that she was trying to better her life and try and find some sort of work. Maybe that's what she's telling him. Maybe it was she. There is more to it.
Oh, there's
I don't know.
bound to be more to it.
Can't say that
honest.
she's all 100% legit, but this is what they're coming out and saying, that this is, a bit of a sad story, that she's been sort of coerced into doing this sort of thing.
True, but you've always got to investigate on the truth on what they're saying, because they're not necessarily telling the truth. They're saying, don't forget, a lot of them are doing it to make money off papers. And then you've got the thing of, Mockingbird and stuff like Project Mockingbird and that, and payments not to do them.
Well, the investigation committee, which probes major crimes, had said it had to charge her with committing a terrorist act, because obviously it's caused an international death, an international incident, basically.
World War One was started over an assassination. It just takes one incident.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, obviously she was Russian as well herself. So the fact that she was trying to get work in Russia.
There has been a number of assassinations as well through up the Parliament. What was it? There was eight people rich people who were behind Putin who got assassinated, who were in the oil business.
Yeah.
And then you've just had a few other ones that have just been done. So I'll tell you what, the list is about fucking 12 at the minute, as far as I can count. And there might be more, but I know at least roughly around about 12 have been, which is not good.
Well, I've got one more story before we get on to NASA news. Anything else you'd like to talk about?
Weirdly, Finland have joined.
Oh yeah, they have NATO.
NATO, yeah. One of the red lines from Putin. And not only that, it's just come out by The Guardian and Twitter that there's been leaked war plans.
See, like I say, World War III coming soon to a theatre near you.
Yeah, from the 1st of March of this year that have been leaked out, which is not great for the US, apparently. This report says for the US, which, if you think about it, they're the ones who are controlling NATO anyway, really. They're the ones who are...
Well, we'll see. We'll have to see what happens there. I mean, I love that, there was, like you say, a red line. He's saying, he doesn't want the Ukraine, Finland or Sweden to join. Yeah. Sweden, are they the country everybody just calls neutral anyway?
Yeah, but
they are a neutral country, aren't they? Because they're the only ones in the middle. But they're kind of like protected by proxy now because they're in the middle of all these NATO countries. They're surrounded by NATO countries. Right. So they're kind of all right. They're in a better position than they was like last week. Well, because the thing was, I mean, there was no stopping, or there was worry that once, if he did get through, Putin got through the Ukraine, does he carry on through Finland and Sweden? Do you know what I mean? So the fact that now Finland is NATO.
Well, I won't think so now, the amount of troops.
And people ask as well, why can't the Ukraine join NATO now? And it's because they're in conflict. So if, they can't join if they're in conflict because obviously...
It's actually what started it off. The question of it, because the MP
whether they wanted the Ukraine to join NATO or not, and obviously, that did spark it all off, didn't it?
Yeah, and the next one, and Georgia is worried about it because it started with
midnight train,
Russia being
Georgia.
In there, just being in a little bit of their country, so then it gives them sort of permission to, I'm going to raid the rest of your country, and you can't join anywhere else because if you join NATO, well, you lose this part of the country because it's not going to be part of NATO because we're in charge of it in a minute, so now it's ours. So that's a bit of a threat, but it's... something's brewing. I don't think he's going to... He hasn't yet settled down.
Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, he's saying, like, these, it's not going to be
it's not going to be roses, but it's not going to be...
Well, we'll see what happens. Last story before we get into NASA news. Where is Samuel Jackson when you need him?
I don't know where.
I don't know. Probably in space doing something.
God.
Well, this is a story about an actual real-life snake on a plane. Yeah, a pilot in South Africa made a hasty emergency landing after discovering a highly venomous cobra under his seat.
Wow.
So he had 4 passengers on board. It was a light aircraft, and he was flying on Monday when he felt something cold slide across his lower back. Ooh. He glanced down and saw a head of a fairly large Cape cobra.
Shitting yourself,
like recoiling back under its seat. He said, "It was as if my brain didn't know what was going on." He told the Associated Press. After taking a moment to compose himself, he informed the passengers that he was going to that there was a slippery stowaway, and he had to take matters into hand and try and land the plane.
Yeah. Well, I don't want to get bit. Not only him. Other passengers as well.
So he got onto the air traffic control and asked permission to make an emergency landing. He landed in a town called Welcome, which is nice. Welcome
to Welcome.
Welcome to Welcome. And it still had to fly another 10 to 15 minutes to land the plane with the snake curled up at his feet.
Fucking hell.
That must have been a sweating 15 minutes.
That's like your fucking cat.
Well, my cat's a bit dodgy, isn't she? She goes for... You know what? She's like... Well, I've told you she's got,
she's a tiger.
She thinks she can take on the world. Yeah. That's the problem. She thinks she's, like, bigger than all of us. Anyway, so you've heard of little man syndrome?
Yeah.
That's what she's got.
Yeah.
I find most Yorkshire Terriers suffer from it.
Yeah.
It's true.
Yeah, very true.
Well...
True.
There we go. There's the news. Have you got some NASA news for us?
Oh, I have.
Spacey space news.
I have definitely got some NASA news for you here, and it is all about a monster, super, massive black hole.
I knew you were going to say black hole.
Oh, yeah. Keep your eyes on the black hole.
Black holes.
Is ripping through the universe at a speed warns NASA. Now, the thing is, this is really, really odd because not only it's not destroying the areas it's going through, it's actually creating stars behind it.
Oh, right, okay.
It's already gone 200,000 light years across and created newborn stars. It was spotted by the Hubble telescope, and it's going at a massive speed. Consider if we were leaving here to go to the moon, it takes us 3 days. Well, this is going, it would hit the moon by 15 minutes. So it's going fast and it's right through the universe.
Right.
So they're keeping their eye on it at the minute.
Just make sure it doesn't come whipping past us.
Well, this
sucking
is the thing.
In.
It will do at a certain point.
Well,
Let's just so,
He's always like this, but there's stuff out there that's a bajillion miles away.
Yeah.
But it might just get us,
yeah,
but
don't
it won't
worry about
really.
it. But if you're hanging around for the
fact that
2
NASA have told us
years,
about it is like proof enough that it's probably not a risk, because like they normally don't tell you till the day after.
Yeah, that's
go,
true.
oh yeah, by the
true.
way,
Yeah.
there was a massive black hole ripping through the universe last week, and it just missed us, so we're all right.
Yeah.
But they don't ever tell you months and months in advance if there's going to be an issue.
No.
Do you know what I mean?
Which they need.
Well, I found this story about a UFO.
Oh,
This is a woman who caught crystal clear UFO footage of a bizarre craft when it was flying past an airplane at 20,000 feet.
Oh shit!
So a woman from Colombia captured the moment an object zoomed past the cockpit window, and it's created a bit of a buzz online.
That's pretty good, actually. I think that's bad. Just the first visual of it.
The first photograph is really good, isn't it? So
Yeah.
I mean, it's obviously sparked an investigation among UFO fans, with the footage showing a plane flying in perfect condition with the blue skies and the sunshine. The woman kept the camera rolling and captured the bizarre object that appeared on the right of the screen. It looks really quite, we always go on about how you don't really get good footage. Yeah. It is quite good footage. From looking at it, though, it kind of does look like it could be like one of those sort of silver blankets or something. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like how it's shaped. But again, I'm not going to say it's not a UFO, but I mean, I'm just
it's unidentified. It's
unidentified, but my logical brain. She was saying it was moving fast, and it kind of like
well, they're not slow.
Went through went zooming past. So
Well, yeah, and that's a good image. It just makes me think of how many people have got really good images of them. And there's like a handful, if that, to be honest. And it generally, if we've got a picture, because actually Matlock near me, there was actually someone who took a really good video, but then there was a lot of toing and froing about the video going to a place so it can be tested and then made into a film. But then she sold it to borrowed it to another couple of gentlemen, but then they disappeared. It was kind of like a Men in Black kind of thing. Okay. Yeah, it was an interesting story, because she did have it in a safe and hid it away, and like it was spoke about in certain news areas. But then I tried to find out what had happened about it, and found out that like the video disappeared after she had some dealings with some people.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
So yeah, that's a really good picture.
Right, really interesting. Yeah, it is interesting stuff. I'll post that on Instagram so everyone can have a look.
Yeah, tell us what you think.
I found this story about Nickelback.
What, the pop group?
The pop group. Scientists think Nickelback helped kickstart life on Earth.
Fuck off.
Yeah, serious. Yeah.
You're joking.
So Nickelback, yeah.
I'll tell you what they are. Smokies are really good weed, I'm telling you
It says
that.
Canadian rock outfit ain't time travelers, but their name has been borrowed by NASA. So this all comes back to life on other planets and life on Earth, yeah, and the potential for life on other worlds. And they say it might have been started by a unique fusion of acids with metals and other things, yeah. NASA's researchers who think that, they found a potential, the earliest metabolic event, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is when like one thing attaches itself to another thing, like which don't belong together. Yeah. Like so when rock sort of absorbs metal, or it's a metabolic attachment.
Yeah.
Right. They found the first two things that could have done it. Right. And probably made protein fragments and stuff like that.
Yeah.
They think it's a spine of nickel-bonded nitrogen molecules, right?
Okay.
So this is where the Nickelback name has been borrowed from.
See.
So they've the thing that they've created or whatever, this molecule they've dubbed Nickelback, is in reference to the metal-bonded backbone, which they could use to send into space and use as a marker to detect life on other planets. Okay. Basically.
That's interesting.
Well, yeah, because if it's got the capacity for life, then there'll be a reaction, I'm assuming. Yeah.
Yeah. So instead of sending us
and it's almost like seeding, really, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? On a very microbial level, yeah. That it's like if
all
we
starts
send
that way.
If we send this sort of cocktail of an indicator to another planet, then that could
like
potentially
chemistry,
spark something off in the future. Who knows?
Yeah. Chemistry's
that's how I understand it anyway.
Yeah. That's where I'm understanding it from you.
Anything else you got to talk about space stuff?
No, I'm done.
Well, I've got one more story. They put me on a ship and took me to the sun.
Did they? Oh,
yeah, this is the Wild UFO podcast talking over our earphones, apparently. Okay. So an in-depth an in-depth winner last year. They were running through the cold. What's this? I don't even know what this is. I do apologise. That's not the story. Elon Musk.
Oh, he's been having arguments, hasn't he?
Well, no, these do apologise. Yeah, I was looking at the wrong tab. Right, so they're saying that they're going to be ready for a test flight of their Starship. Yeah, flight of the Starship, the rocket, which is going to be sent off to Mars. Is ready. Apparently, they're ready for a test flight. So the billionaire entrepreneur has posed to find whether out his dream can come true of conquering the planet Mars in the time frame that he set for himself.
Yeah.
He said he's ready to tackle the first part of the
schedule.
3 weeks ago, he indicated that SpaceX, his aerospace company, was almost ready for a maiden flight of its Starship. So we will keep an eye on that then. It makes it sound like the Starship Enterprise is about to fucking blast off, doesn't it?
Well, yeah. Oh, did you hear about the famous person who went into space?
Oh, another one. Who? Kim Kardashian?
No, Shaun the Sheep.
Oh, Shaun
the Sheep, yeah.
I'll allow Shaun the Sheep to go up to space.
Yeah, he went on the, the rocket that went round the moon to test flight. The first one, apparently part of it.
Is he a real sheep or is a model? Yeah.
Yeah.
I was going to say because we do have this heritage of sending animals to space before us, and us having our own, our own space, missions going on now here in the UK.
Yeah.
It would be fitting to. Fitting to send something like Shaun the Sheep up first.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Was
test flight it round.
The Russians sent a dog. The Americans sent a monkey. We sent Shaun the Sheep.
Yeah.
There you go.
Next?
Well, I think that's it for this week. We're available on all podcast platforms, so wherever you get your podcasts, don't forget to subscribe.
We are.
Make sure you tell your friends because we love the exposure. Get us out there. Yeah. We want to get more subscribers.
Yeah.
And word of mouth's really helpful.
It does.
Smash the like on all the buttons because it helps us get more algorithms and people can listen to us.
Oh yeah. Subscribe if you really like us.
Oh yeah. Plus we've got the website neverastraightanswer.co.uk where we've got interesting stuff going on over there. We've got articles and news stories and all downloadable content. And a contact page where you can get over and send us a message. We always love to hear from you. And it's really nice to communicate and, get in touch with our fans and listeners
out there. Nice to talk.
It's good to talk.
Yeah.
As Bob, what was it, Bob Muskins?
I was thinking talk.
Bob Muskins, it's good to talk. When he used to do the advert for BT.
That's right, he did that.
So we're we're available everywhere. Have I missed anything? Get you some merch over on the website. You can support the show by going over to Patreon.
You can.
Or the website and donating via PayPal or other means.
Yeah.
I think that's it. We'll be back next week.
We will.
For another exciting episode.
Oh, yes. We got some stuff coming up.
Yay. Right. Well, I've been Gaz.
I've been Taylor.
And we'll catch you next time. So, from us at the Never a Straight Answer podcast, peace.
Out.